Hello again, football fans. Chris Dunn here with another RFL draft preview. The Memphis Steamers welcome back general manager Justin Jones to the fold this season. So great to have him back. And he will be saddled with 9 picks in the draft this weekend. The 19th pick overall will be the first selection that the Steamers have. And then they also have the 19th pick in round 2. But then they're without a pick in round 3. You got to go to the first pick in round 4. And then they also pick 19th in round 4. And then a pair of picks in round 5, pair of picks in round 6. And then finally, their own 19th pick in round 7. So there's a lot the Steamers could do here. I think one thing that will be interesting to monitor is what is Coach Jones going to want to do now that he is back. There's been some things that have happened in terms of player acquisition and player ads, player departure, and so is he going to want to come in and try to put his stamp back on this team, right? Having been away for a little while. Or is he content with where the team is, happy with everything, and just wants to kind of fine tune, get some talent here, get some talent there, plug and play where you need to. Again, this team is not, not a rebuilding team. This is not a team that, we're looking to like blow it up and bring in a bunch of, new guys. This is a team that can contend. Last year, I think we argued throughout most of the season that they were probably underachieving a little bit, but they got hot at the right time and they made a deep run into the playoffs. Right. So, again, I think it'll be interesting to see what Coach Jones is going to do, but let's go ahead and take a look here at the roster situation and what the Steamers are working with in terms of players that might potentially be gone at the end of the year, guys that they're going to have to re-sign. And so in doing that real quick, let's just go take a peek. So we've got, I guess first thing we'll start, most expensive, Reed Wagoner. And that's probably where we can start and possibly almost end with a lot of the draft talk here, because Reed Wagoner is the most expensive guy in the roster. He's also a free agent at the end of the year. There was a recent trade between the Steamers and myself where Kurt Peterson, who was the backup in Memphis, is now in Sacramento backing up Miles McCain for us. So what does that tell you? Well, the writing is on the wall that Reed Wagoner is a free agent at the end of the year. He is making a ton of money. He is 33 years old. Yes, he's a 95 overall. Yes, he's X Factor. But what is Reed Wagoner asking for in terms of salary and AAV? What are the number of years that he's asking for? And is that something that Coach Jones wants to bring back, wants to entertain? Right? If Reed Wagoner is asking for 50 to 60 million a year, which as a 95 overall with X Factor, I don't know what, I don't have privy to what Reed Wagoner is asking, but I could envision a scenario where it's somewhere in that, 50 million a year range, maybe not quite that high given that he's 33 years old. And I don't know that that's something that the Steamers want to do. And so if Reed Wagoner is going to be gone at the end of the year, and this is in fact his swan song, which, I believe that there has been rumblings in the locker room and, around Steamers camp that this is in fact, his swan song. This is his last go round. This is going to be his chance to, solidify his legacy or whatever you want to call it as a member of the Memphis Steamers. And so if they're going to let him go, I think you got to look at quarterback as a potential opportunity for the Steamers. Now, with the 19th pick in the draft, are they going to take a quarterback? I don't know that that is necessarily where they want to go. But if they're looking to get the heir apparent to Reed Wagoner, the replacement for Reed Wagoner, clearly that person is not on the roster right now. And so could that be the 19th overall pick? Possibly. Could it be the 19th pick in round 2? That's also possible. It could even be the first pick in round 4, depending on how the quarterback situation goes on Friday night and on Saturday and who is still available. The luxury of having that first pick in the 4th round is that on Sunday afternoon, when we start drafting, the Steamers will have the very first pick on Sunday. And if there's a quarterback that is still there that they like, and they've been lucky enough to get talent at other positions that they want with that first round pick and with that second round pick, well, then absolutely go get that quarterback, whoever that is. Go get that guy with that first pick in the 4th round. And so if we're looking at quarterbacks, right, like let's just take a peek at the quarterback, sort of the quarterback situation here on the draft. Right. If we're talking first round at 19, you got to figure names like Dylan Lewis and Jaden Young might already be gone. There's also been conversations that we might even be talking about 3 quarterbacks going in the first round. And if 3 quarterbacks are going in the first round, could Colorado Rivers also be gone before the Steamers pick at 19? And if that's the case, well, then obviously you're not going quarterback in round 1. I don't really think they should be going quarterback in round 1 unless they really do love Colorado Rivers and he happens to be there. Then, okay, shoot your shot, go get your guy. But I think more realistically, if you're looking at quarterback for the Steamers, you get to that round 2, that 19th pick in round 2, and maybe you got guys, maybe you're looking at a Corey Baines, a KJ Smith, a Casey Robinson. Those guys are there. If you guys watch the combine, Casey Robinson, I think his stock went up a little bit. I think he did really well at the combine. I think he was very well spoken. I think the interview portion of that combine certainly elevated his stock. It's not going to elevate him into first round conversation, but I certainly think that prior to, Casey Robinson could have been a name that maybe we heard called in round 3 or maybe even in round 4. But now I think there's legit possibility that maybe a name like Casey Robinson goes in round 2 or certainly solidifies himself in round 3. And with the Steamers, if they liked Casey Robinson not having a round 3 pick, well, then maybe you look at somebody like him in round 2. Again, there's other quarterbacks that are there outside of the likes of Dylan Lewis, Jaden Young, and to a smaller extent, Colorado Rivers. I think those other guys are going to be developmental prospects. The good news for the Steamers is that they have Reed Wagoner, so they can afford to develop a quarterback for a year. They're not asking anybody to come in and start right away. That is the luxury that the Steamers have right now. They can take a quarterback in round 2, in round 4, and they can sit him on the bench. They can develop him. They can go out of their way to give him, all of the practice reps, all of the reps in preseason, get as much development as they possibly can so that next year, if Reed Wagoner is in fact gone, that quarterback can step in and replace Reed Wagoner. And then if we want to look at some other positions here. So Reed Wagoner is a potential free agent. Chris Polk, a potential free agent. Now, that's obviously going to be a priority for them. I think that's a guy that they probably want to keep around in the locker room and also certainly on the field. So I assume that that's going to be a priority for them. Now, the good news is with all the money that they're saving because they're not going to re-sign Reed Wagoner, they'll be able to bring back some of these other guys, right? Like that $80 million salary plus $82 million bonus, right? That $160 million contract that is coming off the books that is Reed Wagoner, well, they're going to be able to bring back some other guys. So expect CP to be re-signed. I'm not worried about that. John Gibson, I think we heard his name talked about as possibly being traded. So maybe there's an idea that they don't bring him back. And maybe they try to trade him at some point during the season. Certainly, if the Steamers fall behind early on in the season and maybe they find themselves with a little bit of a rough start, I could envision them wanting to get rid of John Gibson even more, right? Try to get something in return. Amir Williams, again, you're not going to let him go. You're going to go out of your way to re-sign both CP and Amir. And again, they're going to have the money to do so because all that Reed Wagner money is going to be gone. So CP coming back, Amir coming back. Taylor Mays, I think you'd like to bring him back, right? Obviously, that's a big piece in the middle. He's 28 years old. He's got X factor. I don't think they're going to want to let him walk. But again, kind of depends on how much he's asking for. We know Amir is going to get some money. We know CP is going to get some money. And those two guys are probably a little bit more of a priority. But again, I think that they'll be able to afford all three of these guys. I don't think that bringing back CP, bringing back Amir, and bringing back Taylor Mays is all in the realm of possibilities for the Steamers. So I would again look to see all those guys being brought back. And so if that's the case, well, then you're really looking at, Jakari Nathan, Jake Pride, like you're looking at some other guys here that are potential free agents. And, how many of them are absolute must bring back desperate guys that we have to have, right? Like we could look at Jakari Nathan. We could look at Isaac McCollum, right? So, I guess let's go and look at the defensive line and the offensive line real quick. And so if we look at the actual depth chart here, you've got a guy like Tank Dominick's great, great guy right there on the O-line. Angel Francisco, so I'm not really too concerned. Where was it on the offensive line? Who were we just talking about? That was gone. Isaac McCollum. Did I not see him? Where's Isaac McCollum on the offensive line? Why is Isaac McCollum not listed on the offensive line? This much I don't understand. Because I'm on the wrong team. That's why. Stupid. That would make a lot of sense. Let's see. Tank Dominick's not on the Steamers. Where'd we go? Okay, so I don't know how this ended up on the wrong team. All right, depth chart here. Let's look at it again. So you've got Isaac McCollum, Riley Hayden, great guy there, but again, he's 28 years old. Isaac McCollum at center, you'd like to bring him back. Obviously, he's 28 years old, so certainly has a few more good years in him there. Superstar dev. Seems like they would want to try to bring him back. But again, now that's 4 big names that you're trying to bring back if you're the Steamers. I think they can bring back 3, but I don't know what the financial situation is going to be like trying to bring back all 4 of them, right? They might have to get a little creative and they might have to get a little sneaky in terms of stretching out the contract at a lower AAV or short-term deals, and taking hits in other areas, maybe picking up guys in free agency, maybe starting some guys that they get in the draft, maybe trading some guys away and getting some younger talent that way. But I think if you're looking at the offensive line, certainly it's an area where they could go, right? They've got a 32-year-old at right tackle. They got a bunch of veterans, if you will, right? 32 years old, 3 guys that are 28 years old, a 31-year-old. I'd like to see the Steamers do something at some point in the draft at offensive line, because right now you don't have anybody that's capable of starting that is under the age of 28 years old. And I don't know if that's where they want to go in round 1. Because again, if you take an offensive lineman at 19 overall, he's probably not starting, right? Unless maybe you're going to take a guard and start him over Gordon McQuaid, or, maybe you're going to take a tackle and start him over a DeMonte Briggs, even though they're not going to be as high in overall, they'll be younger. So maybe you want to go that route. But I think at 19, there's probably some other areas that they might want to address. But again, maybe with that 4th round pick, 1st overall, or maybe 19th overall in the 4th round, could you see the Steamers go offensive line? Absolutely. Try to get a little bit younger here. If you look over at the defensive line, you've got Nashawn Richardson. He's not going anywhere. You'd like to try to save up some money because I believe you're going to have to pay him. Oh no, he's still got 3 years left, so you're not too worried about that. I thought he was going to be a free agent at the end of next year, so not too worried about Richardson. You got Diego Lizarraga, great guy off the edge. Jared Smith, nice guy off the edge. Jakari Nathan, free agent at the end of the year. Are they going to re-sign him? He's a 85 overall. He's got Stardev, but again, we're talking about a lot of guys that are, mid 80s or better in terms of their overall that the Steamers are going to have to re-sign, or they're going to lose unless they can trade them for some sort of, small asset package, draft capital package during the year, right? So maybe they want to look at, are they going to let Jakari Nathan go? Maybe he's asking for too much money. Could the Steamers let Jakari Nathan go and look to draft a defensive tackle and bring him up? That's an area. Again, I don't know if that's what they want to do with the 19th overall pick. When you go to the linebackers, again, common thread here, common trend with the Steamers is veterans. Veteran-led team. We're talking about a 53-man roster that is littered with guys 28 years older or more. Right? And so the same thing here, Taylor Mays, we talked about him, free agent at the end of the year. Bob Stevens, Shaq Dunn, DeJuan Middleton. Right? Like, is Mike Werner ready to step up? If you're going to lose a guy like Taylor Mays, which again, I don't think they will, but you've got a 30-year-old in Shaq Dunn. Is Mike Werner going to get some PT so that he can develop a little bit further? Because right now you've got Shaq Dunn starting. And is Mike Werner, that much of a downgrade from Shaq Dunn? Could you start Mike Werner, give him a little bit more playing time to develop? You've got TD Leckrem, right? Like we thought the TD Leckrem pick, I believe was last year, was a good pick, but he's buried on this depth chart. And he's not going to develop. He's not going to get much better if he's not getting playing time. And then in the secondary, the secondary here is just spectacular. You're talking about a guy like William Jackson, who is your number 3 corner. Rodney Goins, like obviously that was a nice little pick for them. Good locker room guy. And then you got CP, who they're going to have to resign. So I think that when you look at the Steamers, I don't think that there is a glaring, oh my God, we absolutely have to draft this position. And so with that 19th pick in the first round, I think that the Steamers could really go wherever they want, right? If I'm Coach Jones and I decide that I want to go offensive line here because I really like a guy and he's available, great. If I want to go D-line, if I want to go middle linebacker, like I can make a case because he might not be asked to start right away. And so wherever I go, whoever that guy is, I think the Steamers here, more than anything, are going to be looking at their draft board. They're not necessarily going to be looking at a particular position. They're going to be looking at the names that are on their draft board. And who are the guys that they have listed as the top 20 guys? Who are their top 10? Who, in the eyes of the Memphis Steamers, who are the top 10, who are the top 15 draft prospects overall? Is one of those players available at 19? Because if he is, I don't care what position it is, that might be where they go. Right? So 9 picks in total, 1 in the first round, 1 in the second, then 2 in the fourth. Those are going to be the big key ones to keep an eye out. I would anticipate at some point a quarterback goes. Is that first round? I don't know if that's the way, but if it's not first round, then it could certainly be second round. And if it's not first or second, then I would definitely anticipate the Steamers going quarterback with one of those 2 fourth-round picks, giving them a year to develop. And then at the end of the year, Reed Wagner's gone. Next year, whoever that guy is, it's your time to shine. Right. And so with those other picks, I'm not quite sure. Again, they could go offensive line. They could go linebacker. They could go defensive line. They've got aging veterans, and they might be able to just go best player available based on whoever that guy is and not necessarily what the position is. Right. So that's going to wrap it up for the Memphis Steamers. This has been another RFL draft team preview. Again, guys, the first round of the draft will kick off on Friday night. Rounds 2 and 3 will be on Saturday, and then rounds 4 through 7 will be on Sunday. So if you are watching this, happy holidays, and I'll get more of these out for you guys. Again, trying to get through everybody. It's going to be tough. I'm going to start picking and choosing teams rather than going division by division, just because it's going to be hard for me to get all of them done. So if you do have a particular team that you'd like to see, feel free to reach out, and I'll try to prioritize those ones for you. But until next time, thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, the bell notification to get updates on all the future videos. And take care, everybody.